Hello everybody. Hopefully I don't look like I'm too hot. Just got done out in the yard trying to get a bunch of mulch off of the driveway, getting our backyard prepared. Okay, I hope everybody is ready and everybody has been doing the best on this 30 days to beating pre-diabetes course. Now, this segment, if you were viewing this outside of the 30-day challenge, this segment is part of a 30-day challenge to help individuals change some lifestyle factors, jumpstart their weight loss and their blood sugars to help beat pre-diabetes. Or if you're currently already suffering and been diagnosed from diabetes, how can we start to reverse some things and make some changes so that we can really live our best life and move and perform at our best. Masterclass number 3, exercise and diabetes. Now, make sure you, if you log on this a little bit later, put replay in the comments, or if you're on live, hit live in the comments, post your questions in regards to exercise and diabetes. If you receive this via email, definitely feel free to hit that reply button and get some of your questions answered. All right, let's go ahead and talk about diabetes and exercise. Well, a lot of us know, or maybe not know, one of the first line of defense is going to be making lifestyle modification with diabetes. Now, that currently could be a little bit different, especially if you're thinking back more in the African-American population, in which a lot of times the first line of defense is, here's a prescription, here's metformin, here's insulin, here's another XYZ, to try to make those changes because it's hard. Maybe there's the perception that maybe those lifestyle changes won't be able to be made in enough time. Now that could be shifting, that could be changing, but I've seen that very common, and not to downput any certain medical provider at all in their judgment. But exercise, changing their exercise, eating habits, and overall changing lifestyles are the major factors in helping and reversing with diabetes and pre-diabetes and decreasing the chance of going up and up in medications, or even starting medication, or be able to decrease some of those medications with some movement. So let's talk about the definition of physical activity versus exercise. Put that in the comments. What is, when I say physical activity, what does that mean to you? When I say go exercise, what does that mean to you? So go ahead, pop that in the comments. Once again, hope I'm not greasy. Taking a quick sip here. Physical activity, what does that mean? And exercise, what does that mean to you? Because this one is something very distinctive that a lot of people will try not to confuse, but try to justify why they're doing XYZ because they're doing this certain activity. So physical activity is all movement that increases energy use. Exercise is actually planned and structured physical activity. So sometimes I get from people when I say, okay, you got to exercise, you got to move. Well, I move all day long on my job. I walk, down, I walk 2-3 miles at work. I'm at home. I'm always up and down at home. Yes, that is physical activity. Yes, Marlena, physical activity, any movement. Yes, that is physical activity. Your normal everyday jobs, doing things around the house, gardening. Those things are all well, but exercise is what actually is needed. You need a planned, structured physical activity. So that actually involves you making a plan and having something that's over a period of time. So you have to take your body into the next level of physical activity, which is exercise. So when you're thinking about trying to make lifestyle changes and trying to decrease your weight, trying to decrease your risk for diabetes, you can't go by that I've always moved all the time or I always do. Your body is used to that base level. And guess what? That's not enough. Either a combination of your eating and your physical activity, those levels are not enough. So right now, you're just at the level to maintain where you're at. You got to bump. You got to make that jump and that bump to actually a planned physical activity, which is exercise. So many of us know the benefits of exercise. You can tell them all day long, it helps with this, da 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 da. But it really doesn't stick into it until you look at it in regards to diabetes. So exercise benefits. It helps with glucose control. Decreases the risk of heart disease. Obviously, weight loss. It improves mood and as well as your motivation to be able to continue to move and do those things. So you would say, oh, Letitia, well, I still can't do exercise. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have a bad knee. My hip hurts me, this and that. But on the flip is that the more you don't move, the more that's going to hurt. If you look at guidelines for a majority of illnesses, disease, it's going to be exercise. Now, if you have things going on, it doesn't say to go out there and do the highest level out there and do something outstanding. It actually takes someone that has the knowledge, training, and skills to develop a coordinated plan for you that sets you up for success. And the number one key is you have to find something that you actually like to do. Because if you don't like to do it, you're not going to do it. You're going to find every other reason not to get it done. The meeting's going to come up. You're going to run late from work. You're going to oversleep in the morning. Oh, I don't feel like it, because you hadn't made it something that you like to do and you hadn't made it a priority. So if you think about if you're pre-diabetic, lifestyle changes are going to be the things that are going to help prevent or slow down that progression into full diabetes. So let's do some things now to shift ourselves into what can I do exercise-wise. So if you think about exercise, what is a most common form of exercise? Do you think it would be like cardio, would be walking, would be lifting weights, running, jump rope, whatever it is? What do you think is a common form? Let's phrase it this way. What's an exercise that you like to do? Post that in the comments. What is your go-to exercise when you exercise? Hopefully you are beginning to exercise, but what is your go-to exercise? What are you comfortable with? Go ahead and post that in the comments there. Take another little sip here. So if you're hitting this on the replay or in the video, okay. Got sponsors there. Walking. Awesome. Walking. Great. So that leads us to how we're going to talk about first is aerobic exercise. Walking, elliptical, treadmill, going around the track, doing step aerobics class, things like that. Those are all aerobic exercises. And those are most likely the go-to exercises that people like to go to when they think about exercise. Why you think that is? It's because it's the easiest form. Walking does wonders for a lot of things if you can just get out and walk. The other added benefit is that you're also still decreasing all those other risk factors by getting out and walking. Find something that you can start to do and go ahead and just do it. So one thing to look at is that since walking is a favorite activity, if you already normally walk 30, 45 minutes on the regular, what do you need to do to switch that up, to take that to the next level? What other challenge can you add within that walk so that your body gets that added challenge so it can start making changes and start making those positive changes on your blood sugars, cholesterol levels, bringing down risk for heart disease, all of the above. So if you think about aerobic exercise, awesome. If you think about what are the exercise guidelines? The exercise guidelines are 150 minutes a week, or essentially 30 minutes a day for 5 days. So if you were already at that level, raise your hand if you're already at that level right now. You exercise, whatever that structure, remember, exercise is a planned, structured physical activity. How many minutes a week are you at with exercise? How many days a week are you exercising? Are you front loaded at the beginning of the week, not getting, then kind of trailing off and missing 3 and 4 days? Or are you consistent with that? Awesome. Intervals for Cindy. Yes. Raise your hand. Okay. 150 minutes. Are you, so if you're at that 150 minutes, are you getting it consistently? Is this an every day? Yes, Marlena says you can switch it up by increasing the distance and increasing your time. So guess what? Another way for you to switch up those, the walking, the intervals, yes, with distance and with time, is similar to what Cindy was saying, intervals. So basically you can change your cardio workout into a high intensity interval session. So don't let those words scare you. What you can do with those is you need to change the intensity and the effort that you're walking, because with the walking, it has to be a moderate, the exercise for 150 minutes has to be a moderate, majority of the time has to be a moderate to high intense exercise. So if you're just walking and just gingerly walking, talking the whole entire time, can hold a whole conversation on your cell phone and go and go and go and go, yes, that's still good. But you haven't got to that moderate to high intensity portion of the exercise. And that also could be holding you back from getting that weight loss and getting more of those blood sugar control levels that you want. Because you got to go into the I can hardly catch my breath stage partially in some of the, and when you're focusing on cardio based workouts. So with cardio, change up the intensity that you're going to be walking. So you could start walking 5 minutes, easy pace, able to talk. Then you start walking very briskly that you can barely talk for 1 minute. Then you go down to 3 minutes of walking, then 1 minute apart. So if you change and do different random intervals of going hard, going off, going hard, going off, and doing that for, say you had your 30-minute period of time, you probably end up working harder than if you just did the gingerly hour walk for 60 minutes, regular talking pace. So you can get a harder workout in, especially if you have a shorter day and you got a crunch and you're like, I got to get something in. Make it a harder workout. Make it half the time and make it as hard as you can go if you're not able to get a longer period of time. I most likely, a lot of my workouts are going to be harder and shorter. Just the time period that I have, that works out better for me. Yes, I have times when they're a little bit longer, but think about varying ways to get your heart rate up and be able to get those other gains with better blood sugar control. So phase 2. All right, strength training. So guess what? Strength training is the magic. When I said, what's the secret? It's strength training. And that is the largest area that many of us shy away because, one, not comfortable with it. Two, might not have the training, don't exactly know what to do. May have some preconceived notions that if I do strength training, I'll bulk up and I'll look manly and this and that, which is none of those are true. Don't have to worry about that. But the magic for blood sugar control and decrease and helping with getting everything leveled out is going to be that strength training. They are current studies. American Diabetes Association recommends strength training 2 to 3 times per week. How many, raise your hand. Are you getting 2 or 3 times a week of that strength training in? I'll wait for it. I'll see if there's any hands. Now, how many of us may be guilty of really pushing cardio with walking and biking and running and intervals and things, but not being as confident with adding in some resistance training? Yep, see, you're getting some honest answers there. He said, not me, not yet. That's all right. That's a reason, that's another key reason why we really want to encourage people to start where they are at. Not where somebody else is or where you think you should be, or hopping into a hard workout and then you end up giving up because it's too hard, or you're aching, or something, something hurts, or you're like, no, this isn't for me, because you didn't start at where you were at and then ramping up from there. So, strength training, it helps your insulin respond better. It also increases your ability of your muscles to store glucose, which in turn will help with your blood sugar. So there's a March 2020 study that just released, I think it was in the Journal of Medicine, the Journal Medicine of Science and Sports and Exercise, I think. And it said by combining aerobic plus strength exercise, it will decrease your A1C by 0.15% for every additional 20% of time that you spent working out over the course of the month. So double, boom, power packed together. Aerobic and strength together is going to be getting that A1C down. And we know that A1C number is the key, because that shows us what our blood sugar levels have been over a period of 2 to 3 months. So it's not just you taking your daily blood sugars and, oh, it was at 110 or 200 or whatever it was. That's the number that cannot lie. It will definitely tell you where are you at on a 2 to 3 month time period, on where those levels are. And that's the determining levels that put you from prediabetes over the edge or back down to get up to decrease those numbers for diabetes. So the key for strength training is, if you just take one takeaway from the strength training, is that the key is no more than 2 consecutive days off between bouts of exercise. That's what the research is showing. So can't do strength training on Sunday, pick it back up on Thursday. That's more than those 2-day time period. So you want those strength training sessions to be consistent in there. So no more than 2 days in between those bouts, because you start to lose the benefits that you're gaining. So it's going to be hard to get those benefits if you got 1 day in. You got, I did strength training on Monday and then I did 6 days of cardio. Awesome. You did exercise. You did well. But guess what? If you would have got that punch and you're battling against that insulin resistance and trying to get those blood sugars to go, that strength and that cardio tag team, it really will take you over the edge. Obviously, in conjunction with what your eating habits and other things are going on too. So the other component of exercise is also going to be your flexibility and your balance. So if I were looking at you right now and I said, go in the living room and stand on 1 foot, how many of y'all would fall over? Just keep it real. Keep it real. Now that means no touching. The other leg can't be touching the thigh. You can't be, posted up on something else. If I said stand on your leg for 30 seconds, would you be able to stand and balance? Answer that in the comments. If you can you balance on 1 leg for 30 seconds? I can see y'all. I can just envision somebody doing this right now, trying to count. Somebody don't go and try this and say somebody got injured just listening to the training today. Yeah, yes on 1 foot, but not the other. Yes, that is true. A lot of us have a stronger leg, so that means you will have 1 foot that is just automatically going to be stronger than the other, that you may be able to balance on one more than the other. So we look at aerobic exercise, strength, and we look at flexibility and balance. That's also a component of what your overall wellness and exercise look like. So I'm definitely guilty of not working on the flexibility part. I just have to be more conscious to add in more activities such as yoga, stretching. You can even do with flexibility. You can do Tai Chi. That is something that's very gentle movements. It helps you with balance and flexibility. Check that out as well. So you don't have to think about, oh, I got to go to yoga class and I'm going to be bent like a pretzel. And I've never been bent like a pretzel, so I'm not going to yoga class. Start out just some simple stretches, couple of videos that you can do to be able to just begin that lifestyle of adding in flexibility and balance work. And balance could just be standing in the kitchen and while you're cooking, you're standing on one leg. Now, don't have anything hot that you're holding on to. So you don't have to worry about that. But standing there waiting for something while the microwave's gone. Stand on one foot for a time, then stand on the other foot. And then start to incorporate some of those things into your daily living so that your body is getting the overall total care that it needs. I do have, if anybody's interested, I think I have a couple of some stretching and flexibility that I can post here in the group so people can have a little something to begin to incorporate that flexibility and balance. Also, if you have any questions, even after this live or after the video, in the comments, post those in the comments. I will be taking a look of those. So if you have questions about exercise, some things that you can do to try to like supercharge or up your game and take you to the next level of getting out of the comfort of just good old cardio, good old walking, or just walking at the same speed for an hour and a half. Change that up. Get yourself a little breathless, of course. Flexibility, but okay, that would be awesome. I can get some of those flexibility and balance resources here into the group. So this also leads us into our next 7-day challenge. This is the 7-day strength challenge. Yes, the 7-day strength challenge. And oh yeah, speaking of that, I have to go back and look at the winner for the water challenge. And this past week, it was very quiet when it came to those veggies. So this is going to be challenge number 3. We had our water challenge. We're just ending up today on our 2 servings of vegetable per day challenge. This next challenge for the next 7 days beginning tomorrow is going to be our 7-day strength challenge. Up that strength game. So guess what? You'll get some instructions on what you need to do. I will post those in the group for the 7-day strength challenge. But this is just a little sneak peek. If you got something that you can write down or just look back on, this is tomorrow is going to be testing day. So yeah, get your rest. Get ready. Get ready. No, don't worry. It's not anything that bad. So day 1 is going to be strength testing day. Yes. Let's see. Oh, we have a question. Can resistance bands be used for strength building? Yes, resistance bands can be used for strength building. Yes. You can definitely use, if you do have strength bands, make sure they have the proper elasticity and they're not old bands that you've had for a couple of years. Over time, the elasticity, you lose some of the elasticity and they're not as effective and then they can snap on you. So if you've been having them laying around for a while, then I would probably throw those out and get some new resistance bands. So yeah, you can definitely use resistance bands for strength. You don't always have to use weights. You can use resistance bands. You can go outside, go to Lowe's and get a cinder block if you wanted to. You can use canned goods, your laundry detergent, milk jugs, anything that's going to give you something outside of, or just your plain body weight. Start where you are with your body weight. It all begins with giving your body that added challenge. If you just go into the same mode day in and day out, your body never makes the gains that it needs to push to the next level. And then if you're stuck at, yes, I'm getting 150 minutes of exercise in, but you're not seeing a change, 150 minutes is just the baseline, not the max. It's just the baseline. So that's awesome if you're getting that. If you're not at that 150 minutes, you don't have to jump from 0 to 150. Make some gradual changes to get up to that level. So the 7-day strength challenge, day 1 is going to be testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do you're going to test yourself. Make sure you don't cheat. And you're going to do how many times you can stand up and sit down in 30 seconds. So that doesn't mean using your hands. That means cross arm, using your own power. How many times in 30 seconds can you stand up, sit down? That's test number 1. Test number 2 is going to be a wall sit with one of your foot lifted up off the ground. So this tests the front of your thigh strength. So don't worry about the details now. I will post either images or video of those 2 tests to test yourself tomorrow. So the goal for tomorrow is just to test yourself and get your numbers. And then days 2 through 7 will have a strength-based challenge for you to complete. And then same thing, accountability, check in, still keep up your water game. I've still been focusing on getting 64 ounces of water in a day. And I've definitely upped my own water game on that. So I hope you guys are holding up to it as well. And just because the veggie challenge is over, don't mean you can fall off of that either. But stay focused on your goals. Hit the comments up with any other questions or concerns. Tomorrow we begin the 7-day strength challenge. All right. Thank you for attending the Exercise and Diabetes Masterclass. I will see you guys soon. Keep going. I'm glad you guys are helping me stay motivated. I like seeing all that you're doing here in the group. And let's keep it up. Beat diabetes. We want to move better, live longer, feel our best. All right. Have a good evening.